You want a hook? All right, picture this. The ballroom is spinning with color and music, every guest watching as a groom in a cream suit bends down, face soft, eyes full of pure awe, while his bride, crowned with a crystal tiara and wrapped in white satin, glides across the dance floor not with steps, but wheels. To a lot of folks that night, they must have looked like a contradiction. But if you could see through David's eyes, you'd know. Umla was the strongest person in the room, and he felt lucky, not charitable. From the outside, maybe it seemed odd. David, 33, the golden boy of tech startups, always 3 ideas ahead, the sort who only owned tailored shirts, falling for Umla, 31, a disability rights activist who never let anyone define her by her chair. He was innovation, she was inclusion. And when their worlds collided at a design conference, he barely remembered the keynote he gave, but he remembered the way Umla held the whole room's attention, calling out a CEO with facts and unshakable grace, the way her eyes never left his when they finally shook hands. Coffee turned into hours, hours into something neither one dared call love, not yet. You know how it is. Dating isn't just dinner and movies when the world sees you as a headline. Stares, whispers, even the so-called well-meaning questions. Is she okay being out so late? Do you think she'll want kids? Are you sure you're prepared for this, David? Even his mother, gentle as she was, worried about what he might be signing up for. But David saw through the questions to what mattered. He didn't want to rescue Umla. He wanted to know her. And Umla, who'd been measured, pitted, even fetishized by men who wanted a story more than a relationship, found herself believing, against every old hurt, that this one might just see her, not the wheels. Their wedding was everything people told them not to do. Intimate, joyful, a dance of cultures, family, friends from everywhere gathering not for spectacle, but for a love they'd watched grow quietly and stubbornly. Umla's gown cascaded over her wheelchair, her mother's earrings shone, and her father, tough as he was, handed David a pair of beaded cufflinks, pride shimmering in his eyes. The first dance was a little clumsy, a little magical, and nobody forgot it. But here's where the story takes its turn. Because beneath all the joy, Umla carried a secret, one she'd protected for 2 years. So when the party faded and David wheeled her gently into their honeymoon suite, candles lit, rose petals softening the bed, music humming low, Umla asked him to sit. Her voice was gentle, but her hands shook just enough to betray the nerves. "There's something I need to tell you," she said, not out of fear, but because timing matters. "I needed to know you, the real you." David just listened, heart pounding, but silent. "You know my history," she told him. The accident at 21, the doctors who told her she'd never walk again, the hard years learning to shape a new life. "But," she said, 2 years ago, I joined a clinical trial. No promises, just hope. Little by little, I started to feel my toes, then my legs. Today, I can walk, sometimes for short distances, but it's hard, it's painful, and it always comes with a cost." She looked up, bracing herself for disappointment or relief. She'd seen both in men before, but David just took her hand, holding it steady. "I don't care if you never walk again," he told her. "I married you, not a possibility." Umla's eyes welled up, not with sadness, but release. So she showed him. With careful effort, she shifted from the chair, knees trembling, legs unsteady. David watched, wanting to help, but knowing this was something she needed to do on her own. Step by shaky step, she crossed the room into his arms, her dress catching the light, her veil drifting behind her. In that moment, there wasn't shock, only awe, and a love that felt bigger than the room itself. "You didn't have to do this," he whispered. "I know," she said, "but I wanted to. Not to impress you, but because I trust you." David just laughed, soft and a little shaky, brushing her hair back. "Nothing's changed," he told her, "not for me." Umla settled back into her chair, legs aching but her heart at ease. "You know," she said quietly, "people think the hardest part of disability is the pain, the stairs, the logistics. But for me, it's always been trust. trusting that someone will love me, all of me, not just the parts they think they can fix. David didn't flinch. He listened, really listened, as she talked about the men who had come before, the ones who asked about her prognosis before they learned her favorite color. He traced the lines of her palm and said, "You know, I never even thought about the chair. It's never been the story." She smiled at that. Finally, deeply. They spent the night just talking, laughing about vows that didn't go as planned, dreaming about places they'd travel, none of it having anything to do with legs or wheels. Just love, plain and simple. In the morning, Umla rolled to the mirror to fix her veil, catching David's eye. "Still feel lucky?" she teased. "Luckier," he said, and meant it. Later, in the breakfast room, someone whispered, "He must really love her." Umla caught the words and leaned into David. "Should I tell her I'm the one who rented the whole hotel?" He grinned. "Nah, let her wonder." That's when it clicked. This love wasn't about proving anything to anyone. Weeks passed, and Umla finally decided to share her truth. She filmed a video, "What They Miss When I Stand." She spoke to the camera from her chair, no pity, no drama, just honesty. Midway through, she rose with a cane, walked a few careful steps, and sat again. "People cheer when I stand," she said, "but what they don't see is the strength it takes to sit every single day. This chair isn't my weakness. It's my freedom." The clip went viral, Umla's inbox overflowing with messages, some from strangers, some from others who'd never felt seen before. David stayed in the background, always supportive, never making it about him. When a reporter asked what it was like to marry a woman so brave, he just smiled. "She's not brave because she stood. She's brave because she waited for love to feel safe enough to stand at all." Their life? Not a fairy tale, just real. Good days and tough ones, therapy appointments, product launches, family holidays, sometimes too many stares. Always, always laughter and honesty. On their third anniversary, David gave her a journal. On the first page he wrote, "I fell in love with a woman who rolls. I married one who walks. But I'll grow old with the woman who moves people, no matter how she gets there." Umla cried, not because it was sweet, but because it was true. That night they danced, not for an audience, not for a story, but for themselves, her head on his shoulder, the music barely louder than their heartbeats. There were no more secrets, just the kind of peace that only comes after every test has been passed, every fear faced together. "Oh, here's what I want to ask you. Would you have waited? Could you have loved without needing more? Is it the struggle that defines us, or the way we're seen by the ones we trust most?" I'd love to know your thoughts. Drop a comment, share your story, and if this touched you, hit subscribe, because these are the stories that remind us what love looks like when nobody's watching. Stay kind, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next one.